Hi everyone! We're live for episode 4 of the Sunday series, and I am really excited to have with me the absolutely wonderful Trisha. Trisha Pegg, thank you for joining me, Trish.
Hey everyone.
Now, Trisha's been on my radar for about a year now, so I'm really excited to finally be having this chat. To anyone who doesn't know Trish is an absolute legend in the property world. She is the queen of HMO. Within her first 2.5 years, they built up a property portfolio worth well in excess of 8 million. And I'm sure it's far higher than that now. So we'll be delving a bit deeper into that. But like myself, Trish is also a mother of 3. She's empire building, she's spinning plates. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting to know her a little bit better. It's just the way it's worked out. It's not been deliberate, but my first 3 guests, I've had Nick James on, I've had Paul McFadden on, and then last week I had Stephen Green on, and then I've got 3 women back to back now. So it's time to.
Yeah, but do you know what's strange about this? I have some kind of the rule of 3, right? I don't know what it is, but it's the 3rd time or the 3rd thing that I do, which explodes every single time. And it's at events, the live events that we do, the trainings. Sometimes every time I get to, I'll try it the 3rd time. This will be the last time, but it's the 3rd time I'm going to do it. And it always ends up being the most successful one. So like now you're saying a rule of 3, like so you've gone from 3 men to 3 women.
Yeah.
Don't know what it is.
It's meant to be. Well, we nearly forgot to go live. We were too busy.
Yeah, it was like, who needs anybody else to listen? I mean, we're just having a chat amongst ourselves.
Well, yeah. We need to stop because people are going to get a lot of value from this. We need to wait until we're going live.
So what was hilarious, because Ellie was like, oh yeah, get your wine, let's go deep, let's just go for it. Is there, because I remember, you were really nice and you were saying, because of certain things that I've been through recently, like, is there anything that you don't want me to ask or avoid? And I was like, no, do you know what? Everything that I'm about is, that is our brand, like real life. So, I want to be totally authentic, totally transparent. When people get prepared for interviews and all of these kind of things, it loses the authenticity. It's too rehearsed, like you want to be shocked a little bit sometimes and just speak from the heart, because that's what it's about. So she said, get your wine ready, and so I went, I know your game. She's trying to get it out of me. And I said to her, look, I'm really sorry, but I'm actually on a 30-day cleanse and I can't drink at the moment because that's part of it. And what I said was, I've had the most brilliant 2 weeks of just being really hardcore, really pushing myself. So I'm not letting Ellie drink alone. There are other drinks providers available, by the way. I am not advertising specifically. If you want me to, though, bud, you need to let us know.
Happy Sunday, everyone. Drop us a comment if you're having a tipple. Who's joining us for a tipple this evening? Cheers.
Absolutely. Get it out.
It's quite funny because we're always talking about health as well. And everybody that I'm speaking to that's successful, we're always talking about the same thing: the personal development, the health. And as I'm grilling everyone in agreement, I'm constantly just going yes.
Yeah, but I think but you got to. The thing is, because it's like I'm very much like that. You need to look after you, because that's one of our in real life our awareness, like the 5 freedoms, and one of those predominantly is the physical freedom, because you can have all these things, you can have a wealth, and you can be in a really good place emotionally and mentally, but if you're not physically well and you're not taking care of yourself, you how do you function at the level that you need to function to be ultimately successful? If you're poorly all the time because you're not eating correctly, or you're really tired all the time because, again, your nutrition, or the fact that you're not taking care of yourself in fitness and things like that, that is, a massive game changer. And I'll be honest, I'm not gonna lie, like, exercise to me, I really don't enjoy it, and I find it such a task and a chore, and I'm like, so much to do that taking an hour out is like, But saying that, recently, this new program that I've gone on with my personal trainer, and actually I think that's what helps me. I've never been a gym person. I can't go to the gym and just like, that is so boring for me, and I just would not be able to motivate myself enough to want to do that. And also having children, it's not, I've got to get a babysitter to go to the gym. Like, it's just not going to happen. So having that kind of relationship with the guy that I found is amazing, because he just pushes me past my limits, and now I'm actually starting to enjoy it, also the results. But at the same time, it's like I feel better in myself, you know, the way I'm looking and my energy levels, and the amount that I do on a day-to-day basis, and the amount that you know, I want to grow. My dreams, my goals are so that I have to just keep driving forward, and it can be exhausting. But again, if I'm looking after myself and I'm doing these things to take care of my physical freedom, then I have the ability and the energy to deal with any obstacles that come my way, and there can be a lot.
Oh yeah. We'll delve into some of those. So what's the regime then, Trish? What are you doing?
So I'm doing 3 1-hour like non-stop workouts at the moment every 5 days, and the food diet that I'm on is like a replacement kind of. So I have a healthy meal each day, and then I have like 2 shakes. And I was very against it for a long time, because I know quite a few people that have been doing it. It's not the case that I'm overweight or anything like that. I know some people have been like, what are you talking about? I get that. I'm not saying I'm overweight, but for me, I'm 4'11", so I'm tiny. And if I drink lots, which I don't normally do, which I did for a while, comfort drinking and eating and all of that kind of stuff, it just goes boom to the baby belly, you know? And I was like, no. So for me, putting on, what did I put on? So I moved into this house in January, and literally the other week when I was weighing myself, I had gained like almost 2 stone. And that for me is astronomical, because I'm so small. So it all went to my tummy, and I was like, oh no, what are you doing? So I was like, come on, I need to sort myself out. I need to get on with this. So I'm doing regular training and workouts now, which I commit to every single week. And then I'm doing this plan, which at the moment is a 30-day, which predominantly this diet is to shed. Mm-hmm. So this is going to help me shed the weight that I've put on that is not serving me. I'll do my workouts, my training, which is going to be awesome. And it's giving me more energy and just making me feel better physically. And then where I go after the 30 days with the actual diet thing, I don't know. But I'm not someone who counts calories. I can't be doing with any of that. Who has time for that, to be honest? And I know some people live like that. I couldn't do that. It's just not for me. I'm not the kind of person. And also just thinking, oh, I can't have a beer. You know, like I want to be able to, I'm the kind of person that's like, if I want to go and have a McDonald's, my children call it Bad Donald's, right? Let's have a Bad Donald's. Then I want to be able to do that. And I want to be able to say, right, okay, I just need to train a bit harder or do an extra set of crunches or something to make up for the nuggets that I've just eaten.
Yeah.
Something like that. You know, I don't want to have to limit what I want. I want to be able to enjoy whatever it is that I choose to have and not limit myself all the time, because that's not sustainable, I don't think. You know, I can't have that cake, I can't have this, can't have that. Yeah.
You know the only thing we've been doing, so I'd say probably I joined the fitness challenge last January, and then that petered off. It's just one of those typical January things. But I'd say all the last year I was training more, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. But then for me, and this is massive excuses, but I'd go away a lot on business, and you know, networking, events, whatever. And I'd take my little overnight bag, I'd be away for 2 or 3 nights, and put all my gym gear in, and then the first person would be like, anyone going to the bar later? I'd be like, yeah, I'll meet you for burger and chips, a few glasses of red. Count me in.
And when you're on like trainings and you go into events and stuff, you tend to eat at different sort of times as well. And like certainly training events where, you know, sometimes you're in the room from, certainly our events, we're like 8 a.m. until 10, 11 p.m. sometimes at night. Yeah. So you've got one kind of main meal break in the day, but then really short breaks. So either you're not eating very much at all, or at the time that you do get to eat, you're just going like, where's the closest, because I don't have enough time. Yeah. And you kind of just grabbing whatever you can eat. I'm hungry. So yeah, that can be a bit unhelpful as well. Yeah. Your routine.
We've been doing Joe Wicks every day lockdown, so that the kids sacked it off after the first week, the kids aren't interested now. Apart from when we're doing plank, they like to jump on us while we're doing plank, which is great, you know. It's meant to be this family thing, and instead we just end up shouting at the kids. We're like, get off! This is our exercise. This is important. It's like, it's not exactly the Walton family, but we pretty much, I'm seeing my PT now for a socially distanced run every week, which is great. And I've been quite good with the walking and doing my calls whilst I'm walking and stuff like that. But literally just by being consistent 6 days a week because we've been doing one on a Saturday or a Sunday as well. Like I've not weighed myself, but I probably went from a big 10 to like a small 10. I've lost probably, I'm guessing, about half a stone and really toned. And like for me,
done.
Yeah, but when we started it was quite, I started an accountability group at the start of lockdown because I thought everyone's there. We're sort of doing all of this in a jumbled order, but it doesn't really matter. With the great intentions, with the homeschooling, myself included, the fitness, we're going to use this time for, you know, I think, yeah, personal development to an extent, but I think those of us that are kind of in the thick of the business, it was very much firefighting, wasn't it, when everyone kind of went into lockdown. But I started this accountability group, and like the lads were all going hell for leather, like 1,000 burpees and this, that, and the other. And then one by one, they've all kind of fallen off the bandwagon, and then they're sort of us just with our P with Joe, which you could kind of laugh at, and it's like, yeah, but we're still here getting results 11 weeks in, not missing a session. So I think it's just about being consistent, isn't it?
It is. That is it. It's like anything that you do, consistency is key. It's like people, you know, are following, and I appreciate it because kind of the statement is exciting and people get attracted to all these get rich quick schemes and all this kind of stuff out there. Which, so yeah, some people, it's like, I want to lose weight quick. So they'll go onto all these faddy diets. And then as soon as they end the diet, they put all the weight back on because it's not sustained, you know? But same with like the get rich quick. You can't just expect that you're going to do something that quickly. You have to build up the systems. You have to make the relationships. You have to put the work in. And like you say, it's just the consistency of just keep following up, keep doing it. And also knowing what your outcome is huge. Like that's a big thing that we train people. It's all about consistency, because once you know the outcome, like where you're going, what it is you want, that's one of the things that enabled me to get the results that I have, because I knew what I want and why I wanted it. So therefore I was so focused, so laser focused. And there has been a lot of obstacles and challenges that's come up over the time, but because of I'd made that commitment to myself and I stayed consistent with my actions, and I wanted it so much, nothing would knock me down. Even coronavirus and lockdown coming up, you know, people want to run and hide, and it's like, hey, you know, if you are doing the right thing for the right reasons, you will absolutely be able to achieve whatever it is you wish to achieve. And when these things do come up, that's the test, right? It's like a market crash in property, you know, don't panic. It's always a buyer's market. It's just a case of like, right, you know, if we have a crisis, it's okay, is it a buy market, is it a sell market, or a hold strategy, or both? Like, you know, don't panic. Everyone just wants it to be easy and run smoothly and predict the future, which nobody can predict. Who predicted that we're going to have this coronavirus? Right?
It's funny, we were talking about success resources just before we went live, and it was quite funny. I was at the Kiyosaki event last April, and obviously coronavirus wasn't mentioned. That would have been a bit weird, but almost to the letter, this is exactly playing out how they said it was going to happen. And I think a lot of us were kind of preparing, not for coronavirus, but certainly for a recession. But I want to start really by going into, and this falls in nicely with the post that you did today, which was fantastic. So basically, Trisha has just got a brand new all singing, all dancing Range Rover, isn't it?
Yes.
And she actually had, she had a good corporate job back pre-property, worked really hard, and had got herself her dream car at the time, which was a Range Rover. And back in, I think it was March 17, I think this post was, Trish made the decision to sell the car and invest that money into masterminds and our education and developing our own journey. So we touched on the fitness stuff, and it's all very interlinked with the mindset and the personal development. What made you get into property when you were already successful? And was that around the same sort of time that you started buying into the personal development, or is that something that you've always been passionate about?
Great question. So yeah, for me, I'd kind of hit a wall where I thought I was doing really well and I was really successful, and I was earning a reasonable amount of money. But at the same time, I had 2 children at the time, so Courtney and Sienna Rose, and it was really quite.
Trish, can I just say, we've got a Sienna and an Isabella Rose.
Oh, see, so look, we're connected in some way already. And I was kind of like, well, we're doing okay for what we're doing and for our age, I suppose. But it was like every month, even though I was working 50 plus hours a week, Mark was working like 90 plus hours a week in his development job as well. And it was like, once we paid the bills and everything, there was nothing left because nursery fees were insane and all of this kind of stuff. And I was like, there's got to be more to life. Plus, it was killing me because I was barely seeing my children because I was constantly in the office. And I was just like, this is not working. So what actually happened at one stage, I was headhunted from a competitor for the business that I was working for. And I said, I had to use like my good negotiation skills here. And I said, look, I'm happy to come and work for you, but I want to earn this, which is more than I was currently earning. And I want to work from home full time. And because I want to be around my children more, but at the same time, I'll guarantee results. And that's why you want me in the first place, right? You know, like I start the negotiation. And they said, hey, yeah, but you know, you need to go in sort of at least twice a week. And I was like, well, that's going to be a 2-hour commute for me. So absolutely it's not going to work. But at the same time, I'm happy to go in once a month to the local office. And they were like, okay, then. So we made a deal. And they were like, look, we're happy to do it as long as the results maintain around this percentage. And then if it drops, then we'll have to review it. I said, yeah, fine, absolutely. So I then got more of the quality time with my children. So I was kind of being a full-time mum, but then also I had a full-time job. So I had to be strict and accountable for my responsibility, which was to deliver my result in my job. But then again, it was like I was working even harder to maintain these results. I was spending time with the children, but then it became kind of a bit of a burden because I was trying to do both. And I sat down and I just said, I feel so overwhelmed and like this can't be it. You know, I had like a big moment in my life where I just kind of went, is this it? Right? Is this what it's going to be? I've just got to keep work harder, earn more, but then work even harder to earn that more. And then like we still can't do anything with our life. We've got no experiences because we don't really have the funds available. And the more we were earning, the more our lifestyle seemed to get expensive and the children paying for their kind of childcare things, but then all their extracurricular activities and things like that. And then I'd worked all that time and yeah, I managed to buy my dream car, which was a Range Rover Sport. It was like little things like that I started to try and give to myself, where I was looking for things to make me feel the hole that I was feeling. Because I was like, oh yeah, well, once I go on that holiday, or once I have this house, or once I have that car, I will feel. I was always looking for things to make me feel whole. And then what happened was we saw well, it was with Grant Cardone, actually. We worked with Grant Cardone from back end of 2016. And we did his online training. And then once we'd started to be open to the idea of, yeah, the information is out there for us, but if we want to take it quickly and get results now, why are we trying to learn it ourselves and make those mistakes when actually if we're just open to the information from people that are already doing it, that are already successful in the field that we want to be, and if we invest in ourselves, then we can get that information and learn from their mistakes so we don't repeat them and do it quicker, you know? So we did some training with Grant Cardone, and then I've seen a property training for like a 2-hour workshop. I was busy with the children at a gymnastics thing, so Mark went to that. And then he signed up then for a 3-day training for us both. So then we went to the 3-day training, and I always been obsessed with property. Like I love property. I've got a passion for it, but I had no idea how to do the numbers and stuff, other than I owned my own house then. So I bought my first house when I was like 18. And I wasn't flush or anything, so don't think I was rich, people, by the way, watching this. I absolutely wasn't. This was like 5% deposit, because I think we bought it during a recession, right, which is hilarious. But it was this tiny little house, but it was mine, you know. And so we went to this training, and I was totally like, wow, you know, the possibilities are endless. And I felt like that was my moment. So the breaking point of this can't be it for my life. This is not how I see my life being. I'm just going to have to keep working like I am, having no time, missing out on stuff with my children, being frustrated then whilst they're there. So I got what I wanted, which was to have them with me. Then I was frustrated because I was like, I need to get this done. So you know, and all that. Yeah. And then, we started in the property game and invested. So the car that I'd worked for years to afford, then it was like, okay, we need to pay all this money. And, you know, I know lots of people, you've probably got opinions about this, but it worked for me, right? So we spent about 25,000 in our training. And when the number came to us, me and Mark did everything. We were searching online, following up all the trainers on LinkedIn, company's house, checking them out because we thought it was a scam and all this kind of stuff. But we invested in ourselves, and in order to do that, we needed to make sacrifices, because we believed so strongly that the reason and where we were right there in our lives was due to the decisions and choices that we made. So if we want to go to the next level and we want to achieve all this result with this time freedom, financial freedom, we need to do something different. So I made the decision to sell my car, and that was my decision, and I was really devastated about it. But in order to afford the coaching, the mentoring, and the training that we needed to get the result quickly, because that's what we wanted, we didn't want to have to wait years to go through all the mistakes and whatnot. We needed to pay for this training and invest in our education, coaching, and mentoring, because that is essential for us. It's the constant being held accountable. So I sold my car, spent it on training, coaching, mentoring. We remortgaged our house so that we could pull out the equity to use to buy our first property. And I know this is a really long response. I'm just realizing.
No, it's brilliant.
And then once we've done that, so I'd sold my car, which paid for that. Then I refinanced the house, which pulled out enough equity to buy one property, which ended up being our first HMO. So it was January 2017 when we started. We had our first offer accepted in the February 2017. And then I went to a T. Harbecker program, which was through Success Resources, which was called Millionaire Mind Intensive, which was awesome. It was a big, crazy, like, wow, personal development. So we'd done technical development to start with, and then we went to personal development, and we realized once you combine the two, you're like unstoppable force. And we really knew what we wanted, like what our outcome was. And then it was in the March 2017 that I went to Tony Robbins. So we did the Unleash the Power Within.
Yeah.
And that was wow. And we were in like diamond seats, which is right next to the platinum partners. So for anybody that's been to UPW, like the platinum partners, I made really good friends with them, because get a better seat, get more investors. And I just business carded every seat, every break that we had. I just like to get them for investment purposes. And I remember like making really good friends with them. And then Tony was talking with us and said, look, I was like, the thing is, I think, you know, I need to quit my job in order to have more time for the properties, but I'm scared because without my guaranteed income. And he was like, you know, do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in yourself? And I, yeah, you know, absolutely, I can do it. And he was like, so burn the boat. And I was like,
yeah, just love it.
And he was like, burn the boat. And what he means by burn the boat, like I was saying on my live the other day, is like, stop giving yourself a get out, stop giving yourself a way back, because then if you burn the boat, you can't get back on the boat to go back to where you used to be. You have to make it work where you are. Say you're stranded on an island, you have to make it work. You have to find food, you have to make a fire, you have to make it work. So I got back from I just exploded, and I got back from the event. Well, it was May 2017 that was, because June. And in the June, so May, I handed in my notice on the Monday when I got back from UPW, and I left my job. So in June, so I'd gone from having one property accepted in the February, which was taking ages to go through because it was a corporate sale and we kept losing it, gaining it, losing it, gaining. People were outbidding us because they showed a number, and I was like, ah! So much like anxiety over that deal. And I did everything wrong, by the way. I got totally emotionally addicted. And I was so like the Minton floors and the roses in the ceiling and the coving. I was just addicted to this deal. And my mentor was like, stop it, stop being emotionally, it's business, it's not personal. And I was like, but I love it. And he's like, no. And I went, yeah, but I love property. No. Does the deal work or not? Stop upping your number. It works at this. And I was like, but I can make it work. And everybody was telling me, no, you're not going to get this revaluation. It won't let, like, I had so much negative from experienced people in my area, right? So it was scary because I kind of went, no, I know this deal. I have done my due diligence. It will work. And because of this, this and this and that, but it won't in this area. And I'm like, yes, it will. And I was so determined because I'd really committed to getting a certain result from this property. But then, so when I quit my job in the June, I then in 6 weeks got another 6 offers accepted on similar properties.
Yeah.
So I went from 1 to 7, and I only had money for one. I had money for one deal. So I was like, but I'd quit my job, so I had to make it work, which is why I was like, I need loads of properties, because 2 of the properties, once refinanced and cash flowing, were my then wages.
Yeah.
That covered my wages. So I was like, right, I need to get at least 2, but I ended up with 7. And I was like, I have money for one. What am I going to do? Oh my goodness. So then because the pressure was on, and all the coach, the mentors were like, slow down. This is too much for a new investor. Like you're gonna get yourself into a mess and all of this. And I was like, so determined, because the work that went into learning to get these deals, do my due diligence, to get them accepted, they were like, source some of them on. I was like, no, do you know how hard it is to win these kind of deals? And I was determined to keep every single one. So I just went crazy. And I'd been like online, and I'd been truly integral and authentic by sharing everything about what I was doing to anybody that would listen. And I raised over £650,000 of investor finance in less than 10 days.
Brilliant.
From that, to pay for all 7, and I still own all 7.
But you know what? It's amazing what you can do when your back's against the wall. And this is why the mindset is just so important, because it's very easy to allow other people to judge you on their own limitations. And a lot of the time it's said from a place of good intention. But we had kind of very similar, really. I got made redundant while I was on maternity leave, when we used our redundancy money. We had no savings because our business nearly went under in 2016, which is a whole other story. So we used every penny we had to invest in our property education. And people, like you say, they do think it's a scam. They think it's a pyramid scheme or this or that or the other. And
you're in a cult.
You're in a cult. And I think people still think that, because all I talk about is like personal development and this, that and the other. But it's not a bad cult, is it? Like these people that support you and want you to do better and stuff like that. But we literally, we did that. And then we were going to do a delayed completion for our own personal property, and we started getting cold feet. There was loads of alarm bells, and we thought, what are we doing? This is everything, the opposite of rich dad, poor dad. We're tying up all our money again. We've got an opportunity here to use a little bit of money we do have from our house sale to really go and create wealth. When you know what you're doing with property, you don't necessarily need obviously raising finance is the majority of what you do, but just to have that little bit just to get you going. So we moved into a rental, and people were just like, what are you doing? You spent your redundancy money, you're spending all your equity in your house, you've got 3 young kids. Like,
yeah,
people don't get it, do they, at all?
No, absolutely not. They're scared of it. And it's like, it's understandable, because for them it's the unknown. And again, they think it's a get rich quick scam, going to fail, you're going to lose money and you're going to be one of those stories. Or at the same time, they almost don't want to believe that it's true because they aren't doing it. And also what we found, so I can only speak for myself, but what I certainly found at the beginning because I lost a lot of my friends very quickly, because either they thought I was too positive,
Yeah.
so they got really bored. They got fed up that I wasn't available because I'd literally spent all my time, you know, practicing, finding deals, running numbers, because I was at the time obviously in a full-time job, starting the property and the 2 children, and I was pregnant with Freya, which is our 3rd child. And so I was the pregnant developer for the first 12 months. It was hilarious. I was building this portfolio, and the builders, I mean, I was telling you just before we came on that I remember she was born in the November, so I remember being on site at our first ever HMO, that was literally just being finished off, ready for tenants to move in. And I was on site, and the builders were like, "What are you doing here? I thought you were supposed to have the baby a couple of in like now." And I was like, "I'm only a couple of days overdue. What isn't this supposed to be? We've got tenants moving in a week." And they were like, "Get off site." And my car, because I'm 4'11", so I'm really short, and I have to be right next to the steering wheel just to reach the pedals. And because my belly was so big, I had to I was kind of driving like this at one point, because I was so pregnant. And I just remember feeling like, but I was so excited with the freedom that I now had, and the joy, and just being in charge of my own time, that it was so, it never felt like a chore, you know. It didn't feel like a chore, and it still doesn't. I still love going, because it's like now we have teams in place. We have so many business team systems, because obviously me and Mark and because we have Real Life Group, we are now, you know, we offer training, coaching, mentoring we've helped thousands of people gain properties and become financially free, and it's the best feeling in the world. Yes. But it's like, for me, we have the teams available to go finish, furnish, bedding, all of that of properties, but a lot of the time I'm there doing this with the pillows and getting all the throws, because I love it. And I know eventually I might get to a point where I don't want to do that anymore, but for right now I enjoy it. Like, I was at the house, it was last weekend with the children, and they were with me sort of for the week, and I said, "Come on," because I've got 3 that I need to get finished. We've got tenants ready to move in, and they were like, I went, "Come on, how awesome is this? You are going to make this house into a beautiful place for other people to live. You're making this nice house because these people don't have a nice place to," "Oh, okay then, mummy," you know. And then they have that experience as children, like, "Is this our house as well?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it is, but it's going to be somebody else's home, and we're going to make it as nice as we can for them." So I had Freya sitting on the bottom step with her iPad because she just wasn't interested. Sienna Rose, who's only 5, she was running 4 stories in one of the houses. She was running to every bedroom, putting the light bulbs on the bed, ready for me to screw into the lamp. Courtney was running up and down with cushions and throws, and I was just like, "This is brilliant. I don't need another team." Exercise and discipline, but, you know, creating a nice experience at the same time.
I take my hat off to you. I jumped on one of your lives, and you were lifting a fridge. I was just like, fuck.
The fridge gate. Oh my goodness. I cannot explain. People were like, they were crying with laughter at me. That wasn't a joke. I was trapped in that kitchen. What I did eventually to get out, I pulled, there was a 50-inch TV in it, but it's still in its box with all its poly whatever it is inside. I hate that. Why does he still use polystyrene in box? Why did he do that? It's so not great for the environment, and the moment you touch it, it goes everywhere. Oh, it drives me mad. So anyway, but thankfully that was in there keeping the TV safe. I pulled it over to the fridge, used that because I got the fridge, I got a little gap between where the top of the kitchen door was and obviously the banister, and I climbed on top of the TV and then levered myself up on top of this fridge to climb over to the banister to get down to the other side, because there's a back door, but you can't get, there's no, like, you can go through a gate to get down the alleyway. There was no alleyway, and I was just like, I'm trapped in this house, I can't get out. So I was like trying to push this fridge. Anyway, within about 2 hours I managed to get it on its side, pull it out the box and everything, and then slide it into place. But it's lockdown, so yes, I hear you cry. Why were you putting yourself in this position, you stupid fool? I was in lockdown, and because of social distancing, AO, who supplies a lot of our electricals, again, you know, other retailers are available, of course. But AO supply a lot of our electricals, and they could only do doorstep delivery, as opposed to they normally come in, strip the box off and put it into place. But because of lockdown and it being a contactless delivery, they literally put it in the front door and that was it. So then I had to become a excellent fridge, which I didn't. I failed the task. But I did do it. Actually, no, I won. I did do it. I found a solution, but I was stuck in a kitchen, stranded for 2 hours. So that was fun. No.